Okay, so hello everyone. I hope you're all safe and healthy. So thank you for joining us for this informative presentation, which is part of the Lamsa Wednesday webinar series. Let me introduce myself. My name is Christian Zouki. I'm a Lamsa ambassador, and I'm a student representative and medical student at the UZEK School of Medicine and Medical Sciences. I am passionate about promoting mental health, and I'm personally fascinated by the massive impact even small gestures can have on a person's life. And talking about small gestures, the word Lamsa, our NGO's name, means a touch of love and affection in Arabic. And that's something we all need nowadays during these hard times. And there are many, many ways we can show other people that they are not alone, like sharing your own story, listening to your friends, spreading awareness, and promoting mental health education. So I found the right platform for me, and it's Lamsa, as known as the Lebanese Association of Medical Services for Addiction, which is an NGO founded in 2013 by Dr. Zainam Karzil. Uh, Lamsa aims to foster medical education and awareness of addiction, mental health, and well-being issues while fighting the stigma around those diseases. So our vision at Lamsa is to strive for a healthy and fruitful society by investing in the promotion of the health and well-being of young people. So before we start, please keep your microphones muted. So in case you have any questions, it's going to be at the end of the webinar. You're going to raise your hands, and I'll try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. So thanks again for taking time out and tuning in. It's so great to have you guys with us. Okay, so tomorrow is World Youth Skill Day, which is an observance declared by the UN General Assembly in 2014. This day aims to focus attention on technical and vocational skill development in young people, and especially to help students to access affordable and technical education and vocational education for a better future. So that's why we took the opportunity at Lamsa to shed light on the importance of empowering teens and young people, especially in the field of mental health. So today we'll be discussing the importance of implementing skill-based programs to young people in schools and other similar institutions. But first, let's talk numbers. Okay, very concerning numbers. Yani, 1 in 4 people in Lebanon meet the criteria for at least one mental disorder. And this is due to, of course, many factors, and most of them are in environmental. وسورتو لو فات ان احنا عايشين بلبنان بصير عندنا كثير فاكتور لنعمل يصير معنا mental disorder. And we all know that the way a child is brought up can drastically affect their future and general well-being as an adult. So according to this data, the health slide, 25% of our population might experience some sort of mental illness in their life. And we suspect that one of the factors contributing to this is that around 25.8% of teens aged between 11 to 17 in Lebanon are diagnosed with a mental illness, with only 6% seeking professional help. Plus, according to School Mental Health Assist Canada, 70% of adults living with mental health disorders report that these problems started before the age of 18. Hala, why this is important to point out? Why I'm giving you this data? Well, sometimes you know that mental disorders, well, most of the time, when they are left untreated, it can lead to severe distress and dysfunction. And even in extreme cases, this can lead to suicide, which is the second leading cause of death in young people. And it's well known that most mental illness signs start to show early during childhood or teenage years. And schools are first places to witness many developing disorders in young people. Well, the most common are depression, anxiety, ADHD, ADD, schizophrenia, and eating disorders. We already covered all of those themes at Lamsa, so please feel free to check our YouTube channel or website for more info. I'm going to add a link in the chat at the end of the webinar. So in this slide, I listed the mental disorders that are most commonly diagnosed in young people. Okay, now, mental illness is a disability, especially when it disrupts performance and negatively impacts a person's day-to-day activities. So it has a lot of consequences. أول شيء, on the student. So, mental health problems can affect a student's energy level, concentration, independence, mental ability, and optimism. Plus, depression has been linked with lower GPAs, grade point averages, and a research conducted by the National Alliance on Mental Health, on Mental Illness, NAMIA, found that 64% of college dropout are because of mental illness. For the third point, there's a connection between physical and mental health, because, of course, mental illness will affect the physical health of students. Masan, for example, it's closely linked with fatigue and persistent tiredness. So this can easily lead to a decline in physical health. It's obvious. So in conclusion, the student or the young person will have a very low quality of life because of it. Second, on the community. So growing with a mental illness might have huge consequences on the community. So first, friends, family members, school, and staff, they will be personally affected out of concern for the person with a mental disorder. And this will also harm the struggling young adults' relationship and employment and work productivity in the future. And finally, sometimes students are unable to finish their degrees and contribute valuable skills in a competitive job market. مثلا مثل ما بتفرجها study كمان من النامي, it's also been proven that people with schizophrenia, they are 6 to 7 times more likely to be unemployed than the general population, with a 70 to 90% unemployment rate. ليه؟ لأنه because people with mental health condition are typically held responsible and blamed for their behavior and symptoms, and that's wrong. And of course, they will be perceived as unable to make decisions for themselves, which is also wrong. But of course, this can be avoided. And that's why we should learn to detect the warning signs in case someone we know develops early symptoms of mental distress. Now, for the red flags, can I please have 2 volunteers help me read the slide? One for the gray area, then for the green. Can you please raise your hands? So you can help me read. Okay, Abdullah, someone can help. Abdullah Shaheen, Leia Al-Kid. Okay, so Abdullah, can you read please the gray area and Leia the green? That's okay?
Yes. Frequently feels anxious, stressed, or worried. Frequently tantrums or extremely irritable. Psychosomatic headaches or stomach pain. Trouble sleeping or has frequently nightmares.
Okay. Thank you, Abdullah. Leia?
Losing interest in activities they once enjoyed, isolation with withdrawal from friends and family, poor school grades and decline in performance, self-harm, abuse, and suicidal thoughts.
Okay, so those were red flags and signs to look out for in people with any kind of mental distress. So now I'm gonna explain the risk factors. First of all, genetics play a major role. Also, trauma plays a major role in the development of mental illness. Having identity issues like self-esteem or sexuality, family dysfunction, having other physical illnesses, poverty, substance abuse, and finally, general environment. And this one is very important because, for example, many students aren't happy or they aren't flourishing at school because of because of bullying. And unfortunately, this problem is overlooked, especially in Lebanon. So many schools and institutions have counseling centers or psychologists to assist students in case of if they need help. But the focus should be more on the prevention than intervention, like any other health problem. And that's why it's crucial to equip young people with some knowledge and life skills for them to be able to address future challenges. So the Stanford Research Institute Student Behavior blog identified the 5T strategy, which is a list of skills and comprehensive systems for school to consider if they want to join the movement to promote and support student mental health. So I'll be talking about each point in the next few slides. First one, talking. Well, promoting conversations and talking about mental health will eventually decrease the stigma surrounding it. So we can normalize discussing many topics that are sometimes considered taboo. We can also teach students some communication skills, like, for example, learn what to say in case someone needs help, like, are you okay? Do you want to talk? That sounds really difficult. What can I do to help? Those phrases are, they seem simple, but it's very important when someone is having like an anxiety attack or is very sad due to إذا عنده depression or depression or whatever. Next point, listening. It's also part of the communication skills. So young people should learn how to carefully listen to someone in order to pick up the red flags in their words, or simply be a listening ear when friends are hurting. Next, we should encourage self-care by asking ourselves questions every day, like, what is making me feel down? What am I grateful for? How do I feel at this moment? So it's very important to implement this ideology in order to understand our emotions and give some time to ourselves in order to thrive in life. Now, second point is training. And when I say training, it's specifically for teachers and staff, because teachers are often the first adults that students turn to in times of distress or crisis. So they should appropriately identify and respond to signs of mental health issues. So من هيك they should learn about mental illnesses, their patterns, يعني كل شيء very common عند الأولاد يعني ADHD, depression, anxiety disorders, maybe autism كمان. So their patterns يعني they should learn about them and how to get support. يعرفوا إنه في psycholog, في psychiatrist بيهتم بيكبر, and and get all of this training through workshop trainings, webinars, seminars, whatever. For teaching, this is super important, a bit difficult, بس مع شوية effort بيمشي الحال. So teaching, mental health education can be integrated into academics and classwork curriculums. For example, younger students may learn how to identify, describe, and manage emotions. Older students, they can learn about and discuss social implications of different mental health issues to know how it might affect their future and how to deal with it. And this is my favorite part. And عن جد I wish we had a certain mental health first aid toolbox full of skills that could help us as students and young people deal with our problems. So those tools are usually introduced to people that are going through therapy for their mental illness. And that's nice, that's very helpful. But it's way better to master the weapons to fight mental distress as a prevention instead of learning the techniques while dealing with a full-blown psychiatric disorder. First tool is mindfulness. So mindfulness is about learning to train your attention to the present moment. without dwelling on what happened in the past or worrying about the future. So mindfulness provides many physical and psychological benefits. And if you can تعمل meditation, you can learn how to eat mindfully, how to walk mindfully, how to live your whole life mindfully. So anyway, Dr. Mkalzel did a webinar on this topic. So feel free to learn more about it. Visit our website. Again, I'm going to send a link in the chat box in the end of the webinar. Second tool, relaxation techniques. They are very important. And this can be also linked to mindfulness. So we can teach many techniques like stretching to relax muscles. Yoga is amazing. Breathing exercises are crucial. Meditation, and so on. Okay. Of course, physical exercise improves mental health by reducing anxiety, depression, and negative mood. And it will subsequently improve self-esteem, cognitive function, and can help with social withdrawal. يعني. It releases a lot of good hormones. It's nice أصلاً for your physical health and mental health. Now, the data regarding art and mental health is outstanding. And في research suggests that people who spend 30 minutes or more each day during the pandemic on arts, like reading, listening to music, or engaging in a creative hobby, collage, they have lower reported rates of depression and anxiety and greater life satisfaction. Super. So we can teach many art skills in schools, like drawing, sculpture, digital design, or even acting. And now we can add some time-out spaces. نحن أكيد we heard about rooms at schools, in schools like time-out rooms where students go as a punishment. مثلا روح على أوضة السيرفيان وخليك جوا لكل البريود. Okay, that's good, but we also need a certain safe space, a certain room or space in schools or universities where a student can relax while trying to deal with his or her emotions during an anger attack, panic attack, or anxiety attack, for example. Last point is taking care of teachers. So schools also need to make sure to support educators' mental health needs. I know teachers, they experience very high levels of daily stress. مش بس بالjob, كمان they have a life, they have their stress at home, etc. So this can negatively impact on students' social adjustment and academic performance. And we should include like workplace wellness programs, teacher mentoring programs, practices like mindfulness. It can help a lot. So, okay, that's it. Before I start answering your question and listen to your comments, please allow me to thank Dr. Zainam Karzel and Ms. Diane Ghanem for giving me this opportunity to speak up and talk about health subject اللي كتير بيهمنا إلي. And I'm super grateful to be part of this wonderful team of ambassadors at Lamsa. We are trying so hard to break the stigma around mental health and addiction problems. So thanks again. Any questions, comments, please raise your hand so I can enable your unmute button, please. Okay, Yara Khamis.
بونجور. أنا بس كنت بدي أقول بالأول إنه التوبيك كتير مهم، ف very well done كريستيان يعني. هلا في عندي سؤال بخصوص السيتواسيون اكتويل بالعالم مع الكوفيد 19 بانديميك، لأن قلنا بالأول إنه اليوث داي هو dedicated to empower the young generation ونساعدهم للفيوتشر تبعهم، فكيف بالبانديميك أثرت على اليوث وعلى their skills؟
اوكي، اول شيء ميرسي كثير لسؤالك. وديجا جاي على القد لانه لو تيم دو لاني لليوث داي هو كرمال خصو اكثر بالكوفيد بانديميك لانه كثير اثر. بس اكيد انا حبيت اكثر احكي عن المنتل هيلث هالمره. So ما بعرف إذا بعدني بذكر statistics على القد، إنه وقتها نزلتهم دكتور زينة على لينكد إن عندها. الرجال هنا affected أكثر بالبانديميك إذا بتلاحظي منيح. سورتو إنه بتذكر الأرقام 8.7% أو 9% وقت الامبلويمنت ريت عند الصغار كومباري على رقم بركة ديفيزي بار 2 عند الأكبر. هذا حسب ال WHO إذا ماني غلطان. دونك أكيد البانديمية أثرت، وأكيد في كثير تشالنجز بخصوص الموضوع. هلا فتنا بموضوع جديد، يعني بعالم جديد كليا كله تغير. بار ديفينيسيون السكيلز هنا موجودين كرمال واحد انه يخرق هالتشالنجز الكبار. هوبفلي بيكون في شيء هيك كوميونتي ليدرز او يونج بيبل مثلنا انه حابين يغيروا شوي بالكوميونتي تبعيتهم، خاصه بهالجمعه في كثير نشاطات وهيك، سورتو لانه في اليوث كل داي. اكيد كثير اثر سورتو بالامبلويمنت كثير، يعني تقريبا 20% وقتها. So yes, did I answer this question?
وبرافو على التوبيك عن جد، c'était très bien.
ديل ميرسي بوكو. حدا بقى عنده كومنتير او سؤال او حاجه؟ Okay, so هلا I always like to end my webinars with a final recommendation as a Lamsa ambassador. So this is it. So please try to be a bit kinder and compassionate and tolerant with people around you, because there's an ongoing silent mental health pandemic and in the world. So the only thing that is free and harms no one is awareness and kindness. So I urge you to talk about mental health from time to time and learn more about topics that might be considered taboo. We tackle everything at Lamsa in order to help each other build kinder, braver, inclusive, and resilient communities. So thank you so much for attending. I leave a very useful link in the chat box. So yes, thank you. Have a nice week.